I'm Christina Boswell. I'm Professor of Politics at the University of Edinburgh and I specialise on EU immigration and asylum policy.
How has the migration situation in the Mediterranean impacted on the UK's migration debate?
Well, the Mediterranean situation actually raises quite different issues from those raised by free movement provisions, but the two are often conflated in current debates. So the migrant crisis raises issues for the UK in terms of, first of all, its asylum policy. So how does it treat and process applications of refugees who apply for asylum in the UK? And secondly, how does it deal with irregular migration from those countries where migrants are emanating, those who are currently seeking asylum in the EU? Now, both of those issues, how the UK deals with its asylum policy and how it deals with irregular entry, are not constrained in any way by current EU provisions. Okay, so the UK is party to several directives on asylum, but they don't substantively influence the UK's autonomy or leeway in asylum policy. And in fact, arguably, the UK has benefited from EU cooperation to address trafficking and irregular migration, and it's opted into a number of measures and just unilaterally decided to opt into a number of measures to help combat trafficking, for example through naval patrols in the Mediterranean or through being part of various databases which allow EU member states to share information about irregular migrants. So the thing that the EU cannot control, or that the UK cannot control as part of the EU, is the influx of EU nationals, and that's a quite separate discussion. Now, the only potential way, and the UKIP has drawn attention to this possible loophole, the only potential way that the migrant crisis could affect the UK or could constrain its ability to control immigration is if refugees were to arrive and be accepted in EU countries and then were to gain citizenship in those EU countries. Once they have EU citizenship, then they would be entitled to move to the UK. But let's just take an example. Say you're a Syrian refugee, you've been granted asylum in Germany. It will take you around 8 years to gain citizenship in Germany. You will have to demonstrate knowledge of the German language. So the idea that you would then, having integrated into German society, acquired German language, lived there for 8 years with your family, that you would then decide to move to the UK after that initial phase is rather unlikely. And also, you know, let's take into account that delayed, that kind of 8-year transition period. So the idea that migrants who are reaching the EU at the moment could somehow then be swiftly entitled to move to the UK is really actually very misleading.
Christina, thank you.